What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go through the top 5 best non-EX cards in Pokemon TCG Pocket. I know there's a lot of great EX cards out there that can do a lot of damage, but there are some non-EX cards that can do just as well, if not better. And one of the great things about non-EX cards is you only lose 1 point from being knocked out rather than 2. So I'm going to go through these top 5 cards here, talk a little bit about how you can use them to win effectively in Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, some possible deck build ideas with it, and make sure to stick around to the end of the video because I'm definitely going to save the best card for last, and you don't want to miss it because it'll be super helpful to building a powerful deck. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're really pushing to hit 10K subscribers, and I can't do it without you. But coming in at number 5, I think the 5th best non-EX card is Primeape. Primeape initially does not seem that strong. He only does 40 damage, but one of the really nice things about Primeape is he only takes 2 energy to power up his move, and then if he has any damage on him, he'll do 60 more damage. That's 100 damage that'll only take 2 energy to power up, and he's not an EX card, so if he gets knocked out, you don't lose much. And the reason he's so powerful is just because of this guy right here. With the promo Mankey, who has Reckless Charge, he will do 10 damage to himself. So the strategy here for Primeape is you start out with a Mankey with Reckless Charge, it'll do 10 damage to itself. And then on the next turn, when you get another energy, you can evolve into Primeape and do 100 damage. And that combo will take out most Pokemon, and you can beat a lot of EX cards well before they're even set up. This is a super easy way to win super fast in Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. Now, for deck builds for this one, there's a lot of things that you could do. You could just make a deck focused on Primeape with no EX cards. You could do Mankey, Primeape, and then throw in maybe like a Sandshrew and a Sandslash. Or actually, what I would recommend, one of the cards I love is Dugtrio. He is an absolute troll of a card here with just 1 energy. He can do 40 damage. But if you get heads, your opponent can't even touch you the next turn. And so with Primeape and Dugtrio, that's a great combo. Or if you are okay with using EX cards, he pairs great with Machamp EX as well as Marowak EX. If you want a low-cost solution, Marowak EX with Primeape is one of the best decks you can use in the game. But you definitely want to make sure you use the promo Mankey and not the normal one, because the normal Mankey is not nearly as useful. Coming in at number 4 is one you've probably all seen and most of you probably hate, and that's the Gardevoir card. This card allows you, with its ability, to take 1 Psychic Energy from your energy zone and attach it to whatever Psychic Pokemon is in the active spot. This is incredibly powerful, especially as I'm sure you've seen it in Mewtwo EX decks. That's really the best use case for it here. With Gardevoir on the bench, Mewtwo can use Psy Drive, his 150 power move, and then which discards 2 Psychic Energy, but then the next turn between Gardevoir and just your normal energy refill, you can get Mewtwo back up to that 4 energy cost, and you can continuously use Psy Drive, and that'll pretty much annihilate any cards you run into. So this combo does take a little while to set up, but it's definitely the best deck combo you can do with Gardevoir. Just pair it with Mewtwo, and you'll be good to go. And then the next Pokemon you can pair it with is one that we'll be talking about in the future, and that's Alakazam. Now, coming in at number 3 is a card I actually have a deck with that I use all the time, and I just featured in a live stream, so you can check that out. I'll link the video in the description below to talk about how to use this deck and this card, but that is Dragonite. Dragonite is honestly a monster of a card and could very well be higher on this list. You could definitely make the argument for him being higher. The only reason I leave him at number 3 is because of the high energy cost and the 2 energy there. It does take a while to set up, but if you get Dragonite set up, you will almost always win. I think there has been maybe only 1 or 2 times I've ever lost after setting up Dragonite. Once he's set up, you pretty much have a 100% win condition. His attack chooses one of your opponent's Pokemon, whether it's on the bench or in the active spot, randomly 4 times. And each time a Pokemon is chosen, it does 50 damage to it. So that can do 200 damage to one Pokemon, 50 damage to each if the bench is full, or 100 to one and 100 to another. And this is incredibly powerful, and you'll almost never lose with him. And honestly, looks super sweet. Only problem is, like I said, he does take a while to set up, so I often recommend pairing him with some sort of Pokemon to stall. That can be a beefy Pokemon like Lapras EX, or what I like to use is Frostmoth. Super easy to set up, especially if you have a Misty, and you can just put your opponent's Pokemon to sleep, and then that gives you time to set up Dragonite, and then once Dragonite's set up, you can use an X speed to switch into Dragonite, and then he will sweep just about anything. There are very few Pokemon that can one-hit KO Dragonite. Mewtwo can't unless you use Giovanni. Alakazam can, and I think Charizard can, but I don't know if there's any other Pokemon that can one-hit KO Dragonite. So he's a tank, and he does a lot of damage. You'll almost always win with just 1 Draco Meteor, but if you manage to get off 2, there is very little chance that you're going to lose. And even if people knock him out, he's not an EX card, so they only get 1 point, which is super nice. I've seen some people pair Dragonite with electric type Pokemon, which works well, especially if you're using Lieutenant Surge. I personally prefer to pair him with water Pokemon and then throw in Misty. And that way I can just use Misty to power up my Frostmoth or a Lapras EX. I can focus all my energy on powering up Dragonite. Weezing is also another great card to pair with this. I unfortunately just don't have enough Weezing to build a deck. But the Weezing Koga combo with Dragonite is also very powerful. Coming in at number 2 is a card we've talked about several times already, and that is Alakazam. I've also done a live stream featuring this card where I go in depth about it, and so I'll link that in the description as well. But Alakazam is an absolute monster. He takes 3 energy, and his base only does 60 damage. But for each energy attacked to your opponent's Pokemon, it does 30 more damage. This literally allows him to one-shot just about every card in the game. If a Mewtwo EX is fully set up, he'll get one shot by Alakazam. Dragonite, who I just talked about being so beefy, will get one shot by Alakazam. I absolutely love this card, and the best part is that since it's not an EX card, if it gets knocked out, you only lose 1 point to your opponent, and you can easily set up another Alakazam in the back to just demolish whoever took out your Alakazam. So this card is super powerful. It's really easy to win with. One of my suggestions, I only have 1 Gardevoir, so I haven't done it yet, and I just pair it with some basic Pokemon like Clefairy and Clefable. But I would recommend pairing Alakazam with Gardevoir. You can use Gardevoir to set him up just like you would with Mewtwo, and then these two can just demolish anybody that comes up against them. And just look at his art here. This has got to be one of the coolest cards in the game. He looks like a Ninja Turtle just throwing his spoons at you. I absolutely love this. And this is just your friendly reminder to hit that subscribe button. I post tons of Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket tips all the time, and I live stream new decks each week that you guys can try out that are low-cost budget decks that can beat some of the meta decks like Mewtwo EX. So make sure to subscribe so you can see all of that. Now, last but not least, the moment you've all been waiting for, the best non-EX card in Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket is Weezing. This guy is an absolute monster. His ability allows you to poison the Pokemon that is in the active spot, and then if you pair him with Koga, whenever Weezing gets hurt, you can just put it back into your hand, reuse it later, and switch into a new Pokemon without getting knocked out. This combo is so devastating, and you can pair it with just about any card. Weezing goes great with Alakazam, Weezing goes great with Dragonite. Weezing fits into just about any deck, and he demolishes. And I know it relies upon Koga, so it's technically 2 cards, but it's so dominant that I can't not mention it here. Weezing is an absolute monster and by far the best non-EX card in Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, because if you play it right and you're lucky, you can use him multiple times without him technically dying and you losing a point. Now, it's great to know what cards are useful, but if you really want to have the best experience in this game, you got to check out this video right here, where I tell you the top 25 tips and tricks for Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. A special thank you to all my channel members. I really couldn't do this without you, and your support means the world to me. And if you'd like to become a channel member yourself, click the join button below to see the options.